All right, we are headed over to one of my flip houses, and it just kind of occurred to me, somebody asked me the other day, like, why do you flip houses? And part of it is to get more inventory, and I was explaining to them the record low inventory that we have. So I just think it'd be really important to just talk about why is the inventory so low, and what are the factors that led to that? So intro, putting a graph up on the screen showing you guys the super low inventory. And look, like in August of 2007, there was something like 163,529 homes for sale in August of 2007. That's a lot of homes. Here we are in October, well, it's November, but the October numbers just came out. October of 2023, we have 20,405 homes on the market. 20,000 versus 163,000. So yeah, we have a shortage of inventory, but many people don't know why. Why is it that we have a shortage of inventory? So it comes down to two things. So number one, construction issues. And number two, just market conditions, like there's just an insufficient number of sellers that are putting their home on the market. So let's talk about the construction issue first. So the construction issue really kind of sums up in three categories as to why we're having construction issues. So the first one, a lot of people don't really think about this when it comes to new construction and why we can't build as many properties, but we in America, especially even in the state of Michigan, we have heavy regulation on land use and zoning. And so those heavy regulations can really get in the way of developers easily developing land that could be built on. And so that process can be like a year or more just to get through all the bureaucratic red tape that needs to get through for a developer to actually begin developing land. And so because of this like super long process, and then not only is it a super long process, but there's all these hoops that need to get through that cost the developer a lot of money. It just really is a big barrier to developers being able to develop more properties. Second thing is for a long time, we have told young people to go to college, get a good job, and go massively into debt. And that's the way to get into the labor force. What we haven't done really well as a country is encouraged these young people to get into the trades. So we have a massive labor shortage, which was even made more complicated back when a bunch of builders were going belly up in 2008 and 9 and 10, which I know was over a decade ago, but as a result, a bunch of people in the trades flocked to states who are still building just to find work, and they haven't necessarily returned. And then on top of that, because we're pushing all these young people into colleges instead of trade schools, we just have a massive shortage of labor, good qualified labor in the state of Michigan. And so that prevents builders from being able to build quick enough. Then the third big reason is when it comes to why new construction is having issues and things like that, just comes down to the rising material costs, the supply chain issues that were, basically massively exposed during our global pandemic a few years ago, has just risen the cost of building to a level that's just, it's not super affordable to build anymore. And so when we think about all of that, here we are at the flip house. But when we think about rising costs and the supply chain issues and all of that and what that's led to, it just brings us into a position where a lot of the issues around really this quote that I found our CEO of the Home Builders Association of Michigan said it best in an article that MLive did here recently. But he said, for a better part of a decade, more than a decade, we have probably built 10,000 less homes each year than Michigan needed. Our average permits have been around 15,000 permits every year. And he said, really, we need to be at like 25 to 35,000. So that's on the low end, 10,000 short each year. On the high end, 20,000 short. And if you look at that and extrapolate that over the decade plus that he's referring to, I mean, we're easily 100 to 150,000 units short that we still have to make up. Well, you can't make all that up in 1 year, especially with all the issues that I just said. So we are seeing quite a bit of issues that are popping up that are contributing to why we just have an inventory issue as far as the available new construction that's there. Well, we just pulled in here to my flip house. We're going to walk in, but when we're in there, I'll tell you a little bit more of why we have insufficient sellers on the market. Let's go. All right, so here we are inside this flip house, but insufficient sellers. So what's going on with insufficient sellers right now? So there's three real big main reasons that we have insufficient sellers. Number one, and I hear it all the time from people, my friends, past clients, things like that. Look, we had record low interest rates for a number of years, and many people who have houses that may not necessarily fit their needs anymore, but they still, they're adequate enough. They have like 2.5, sub 3% interest rates on these mortgages. And the thought of going and buying a new home and resetting it to a mortgage in the 7 or maybe even 8% range, that's a big pill to swallow. So I get that. So there's just a lot of people that aren't willing to necessarily put their home on the market and go buy another home right now because of the interest rates. Second big reason people are not really necessarily moving into choosing to be a seller and move into a new home is that it's kind of like market conditions, like low inventory breeds low inventory, meaning for the people that will be willing to maybe sell their home and buy a new one, they're willing to do that, but yet they look and they see there's no homes on the market for me to buy. So I can't sell my home and then be homeless. And so it's kind of like these market conditions, kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Or another way to think about it is it's just a dog chasing its tail and it's running around in circles. And it's like, well, how do we get off of this, and make this commitment? And there's a process to that can easily be done, but it takes a lot of faith. And again, people are just timid, and worried about being homeless. And I get that. And the third reason is affordability index. So the affordability index, which is actually for our area, compared to the rest of the country, we're still one of the most affordable areas, but our affordability index this last month was at 111. Well, what does 111 mean on the affordability index? Well, it basically means that to buy the median priced home with prevailing rates, a score of 100 would be that you would use the median household would afford the median home with the prevailing rates. At 111, it just means there's 11% additional income within the budget. And so that's a good thing. So the higher the affordability index it means you just have more discretionary income at your disposal. If we get to 100 or below, that's not going to be a good thing for things. So with house prices continuing to go up, interest rates going up, if household incomes don't increase at a same rate or higher, then we're going to see affordability index dip below 100. And if we dip below 100, it just means that there's a lot of people that aren't going to be able to afford a house. It's going to take an above average income to be able to afford an average home. And so that is the third thing that's really contributing to why we're not seeing a lot of sellers in the market. They're just saying, hey, we're going to just stay put in the house that we're in because it's comfortable for us. And so these are the factors that have led to why the inventory is as low as it is. So I hope that was really educational for you as to why we're at the lowest amount of inventory we've ever had. And certainly we're at like 140,000 less from the peak of 2007, August of 2007 to where we're at today. But that's why the inventory is the way it is. If you want to talk more real estate, we here at the Packer Group would love to talk to you about it. Welcome home.